Well, I have never used my body. I have played roles where the legs were used and the body was used.
Hollywood looked fancy, but these actresses were wild. Drama, fights, and shocking secrets made them impossible to ignore. These old Hollywood stars lived crazier lives than today's celebs, affairs, arrests, and drama that had everyone talking. Some broke the rules and won, and others lost everything. From messy love lives to shocking scandals, their stories will leave you stunned. And wait till you hear the secrets Hollywood tried to hide. Cheating, betrayals, and drama that never made the headlines. 16. Mae West. Mae West didn't like to follow the rules. When Hollywood and society expected women to be modest and submissive, she did the opposite. With her strong words, confident walk, and ability to challenge limits, she became a symbol of revolt. She began her work in theater, writing and acting in plays that surprised people. One of them, called was so shocking that it led to her arrest. But West stood firm. Instead, she used the drama to help her become famous. Hollywood noticed her bravery and gave her a chance on the big screen, but she still stayed true to herself. She packed her pictures with clever double meanings and bold confidence, which made censors uneasy. While other women acted shy or sweet, West took control, making men fumble their words with just one look. She understood what people wanted and delivered it to them in her own way. The business tried to control her, but she always stayed ahead. She pushed for the right to make her own creative choices, which is something not many actresses attempt. Her confidence helped future stars who wouldn't let others quiet them. Mae West wasn't just a figure of controversy, she transformed Hollywood for good. Next up, Marlene Dietrich refused to play by anyone's rules, on screen or off. 15. Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich didn't just break the rules, she totally disregarded them. At a time when women were supposed to be gentle and obedient, she entered a room in a fitted suit, a top hat, and a confident smile that showed she wasn't asking for approval. Her unisex style was more than just a fashion choice, it was a message. She played with ideas of being masculine and feminine, causing people to rethink what they believed about the top female stars in Hollywood. On screen, she was captivating, easily changing from a seductive woman to a likable trickster. In her private life, she was just as brave. She had partnerships with both men and women and didn't hide her true self. The public was shocked, but Dietrich didn't mind. She navigated Hollywood her way, showing that confidence is the strongest thing a woman can have. Her resistance wasn't only personal, it was also political. When Nazi Germany tried to bring her back, she refused and decided to work with the Allies instead. She entertained American soldiers, risking her life to fight against fascism. Her decisions were risky, but she never wavered. Next up, Ava Gardner lived fast, loved hard, and left Hollywood chasing after her. 14. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner was an incredible person, gorgeous, full of surprises, and wild. Hollywood admired her for her beauty, but she didn't want to be seen as just another attractive person. She lived fast, loved hard, and never let anyone tell her what to do. Ava lived life passionately, whether it was her secret relationship with Frank Sinatra or her fun nights of drinking and dancing. Her relationship with Sinatra was legendary, passionate, intense, and destined to fail from the beginning. They loved and fought passionately, and their drama off-screen often took attention away from their work. Ava was not only known for her love life, she was a woman who lived life as she wanted, not letting Hollywood change her into the ideal star. She drank, smoked, cursed, and partied just like the guys, and she didn't feel the need to apologize for it. At the peak of her popularity, when many actors would do anything to stay famous, Ava chose to walk away. She decided to leave Hollywood, choosing freedom instead of fame. Even while away from home, she was still famous, always known as the wild beauty who would not be controlled. Next up, Judy Garland had the voice of an angel, but lived through Hollywood's darkest nightmares. 13. Judy Garland. Judy Garland never had a youth. She started her career in Hollywood when she was very young and was prepared for fame before she really knew what it was. Studios controlled her life completely, making her stick to tight diets and giving her pills to stay awake, followed by more pills to help her sleep. People told her she wasn't pretty, thin, or good enough, even though her voice could move an entire theater to tears. As she got older, the injuries became very obvious. Addiction took over, driven by the business that helped her succeed. Several marriages ended sadly, and personal struggles became news. She was one of the best singers ever, but she always struggled with the pressures of Hollywood. The world witnessed the talent of the Wizard of Oz. She amazed everyone with her acts and made the audience feel every word she sang. But behind the curtain, she was sinking. She died young because her body was worn out from years of mistreatment. Even after her death, she is still a sign of Hollywood stars who shine brightly but fade away too quickly. Next up, Marilyn Monroe knew how to captivate a crowd, but behind the glamour was a woman fighting to survive. 12. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe wasn't always called Marilyn Monroe. She was Norma Jean, a girl who grew up in foster homes and wanted love and security. Hollywood made her a sign of beauty and desire. However, beneath her platinum hair and red lips, she was a woman always looking for something genuine. Studios managed her public image, making her play silly and innocent characters. However, she was actually much smarter than people thought. She worked hard for better jobs, higher pay, and respect in an industry that only viewed her as attractive. Being famous came with more than just money. It also brought stress, loneliness, and gossip. She had problems with her mental health and drugs, and her life fell apart while everyone was watching. Her connections with important men like President John F. Kennedy increased rumors and guesses about her. Many people wanted to be near Marilyn, but nobody really cared about Norma Jean. Next up, Katharine Hepburn refused to be anyone but herself, no matter what Hollywood thought. 11. Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn didn't care about Hollywood's approval. While other actors dressed in a feminine way, she went to auditions in trousers without makeup and didn't care about looking like a glamorous star. She expressed her thoughts clearly, did not follow the rules, and had a confidence that made men uneasy. Studios wanted her to change, but she wouldn't do it. Her work had many ups and downs. Sometimes people called her box office poison, but she never pleaded for acting jobs. Instead, she showed her talent by giving shows that are still impressive today. The Philadelphia Story, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and On Golden Pond established her as one of Hollywood's greatest actresses. Her personal life was also unusual. She had a long-term relationship with Spencer Tracy, who was married, but she didn't try to justify it. She didn't believe in marriage, ignored gossip, and lived her life how she wanted. While others were concerned about how they were seen, Hepburn concentrated on her work. Next up, Bette Davis didn't just challenge Hollywood, she fought it and won. 10. Bette Davis. Bette Davis didn't just play, she took charge of the screen. With her strong gaze, quick wit, and amazing ability that wowed audiences, she didn't care about being polite. She wanted to be respected and was ready to stand up for it. When Warner Brothers pressured her to take on unappealing parts, she sued them, which was unusual for an actress back then. She lost the case but won the war, showing she wouldn't be bullied by Hollywood's powerful men. Her shows were unforgettable. She played tough and complex women who might not always be likable, but were always memorable. Movies like All About Eve and Jezebel showed that she was more than just a regular starring lady. She was a strong force in film. But Bette's hardest challenges weren't only in films. She had well-known conflicts, particularly with Joan Crawford. Their feud became famous in Hollywood, marked by sabotage, insults, and a level of silliness that entertained reporters for years. While the news was all about the drama, Bette concentrated on her work. She opened doors for actors who wanted more than just to be famous. They wanted to have power. She wasn't just strong, she couldn't be stopped. Next up, Lana Turner's life was filled with glamour, scandal, and one crime that shocked Hollywood. 9. Lana Turner. Lana Turner was the perfect example of classic Hollywood charm. She was beautiful, graceful, and always attracted attention. Behind the nice appearance was a woman with a chaotic personal life. She was known for having many famous relationships, most of which ended badly or in controversy. Nothing in her life was more shocking than the night her daughter, Cheryl Crane, killed her cruel gangster boyfriend, Johnny Stompanato. Stompanato was a known criminal linked to the mob, and his connection with Turner was unstable. He was controlling, abusive, and frequently made threats against her. The turning point happened one night in 1958 when he burst into her house and reportedly attacked her. At just 14 years old, Cheryl took a knife and stabbed him, killing him right away. The trial that came next attracted a lot of media attention, and people disagreed on whether it was self-defense or something more sinister. In the end, Cheryl was found not guilty, and the incident was considered a justified killing. The scandal made Turner's image even more dramatic. She stayed strong and kept working in Hollywood, even with the gossip around her. Despite experiencing disaster and scandal, she stayed an icon, a woman who faced all of life's challenges and kept moving forward. Next up, Clara Bow lived fast, burned bright, and Hollywood couldn't keep up. 8. Clara Bow. Before Marilyn Monroe and Jean Harlow, there was Clara Bow, who was the first Hollywood sex symbol. She had unmatched energy and a charm that made everyone in the audience love her. She was the symbol of the Roaring Twenties, a free-spirited girl who represented what flappers were all about: freedom, defiance, and enjoyment. She became famous very quickly. With her large eyes, lively face, and natural charm, she was ideal for silent pictures. When she became a superstar, she was known as Hollywood's first it girl. She was the actress every woman wanted to be like, and every guy wanted to be with. But with fame also came controversy. People said that Clara liked to throw wild parties, have relationships with several men, and didn't care about following rules. Regardless of whether the rumors were true or blown out of proportion, Hollywood finally rejected her. When films with sound became popular, her strong Brooklyn accent didn't match the new style, and her work began to decline. She had money problems and serious mental health issues, so she stayed out of the public eye. Next up, Tallulah Bankhead didn't care what anyone thought. She lived her life loud and unapologetically. 7. Tallulah Bankhead. Tallulah Bankhead was not only a Hollywood star, she was a powerful presence. She was loud, unruly, and didn't hold back, surprising everyone around her. She didn't just ignore the rules, she hardly recognized they were there. She was known for her strong voice, clever humor, and enjoyment of indulgence, and she didn't follow what Hollywood wanted. Her personal life was as exciting as what we saw on TV. She was publicly bisexual when many in Hollywood kept their identities secret. She had relationships with both men and women and was open about it. She drank a lot, used drugs, and partied more than anyone else. She was known for making shocking comments and often told rude jokes in public without thinking twice. Once, she reportedly smoked a cigarette on stage during her performance and didn't stop, even when the crowd was shocked. Her wild attitude made her one of the most interesting people in Hollywood. She lived without fear, without shame, and without sorrow. Tallulah Bankhead didn't just break limits, she completely erased them. Next up, Jean Harlow was the original blonde bombshell, but her life ended in mystery and heartbreak. 6. Jean Harlow. Before Marilyn Monroe, there was Jean Harlow, the first famous golden blonde. She had a tempting look, a bright smile, and a charm that filled the screen with energy. Hollywood couldn't get enough of her, and neither could viewers. Even though she appeared to be the ideal star, her personal life was far from exciting. Her love life was filled with drama. She married director Paul Byrne, who was later found dead in an unclear situation. It was officially declared a suicide, but for years rumors suggested that there was more behind it. Some people talked about mob ties, while others mentioned a secret history that Byrne had kept hidden. Harlow didn't say much about it and continued her work as if nothing had changed. But the sadness wasn't finished with her yet. At only 26 years old, she became very sick while making the picture of Saratoga. At first, people thought she was just tired, but a few days later, she died. The stated reason was kidney failure, but people speculated a lot. Some thought it was a failed abortion, while others talked about poisoning. Now the next one is Joan Crawford. He was Hollywood's ultimate survivor, but her dark secrets would later overshadow her career. 5. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford was more than a star. She was a force to be reckoned with. She rose from a tough youth to become a major name in Hollywood, but she did it without being overly friendly. She was fierce, focused, and always in charge. Some people said she was driven, while others thought she was manipulative, but everyone agreed she was talented. Her conflicts, especially with Bette Davis, were famous. The two competed for jobs, traded insults, and tried to undermine each other's businesses. Crawford's personal life was just as dramatic behind the scenes. She got married several times, but each marriage ended badly. She adopted children and wanted everyone to see her as a wonderful mother, but her daughter Christina later said that she wasn't. The book Mommy Dearest revealed claims of abuse, showing Crawford as a harsh and demanding person. Even with the scandals, she still stayed one of the most recognized actresses in Hollywood. Movies like Mildred Pierce showed her skill, won her an Oscar, and secured her place in history. She was complex, often debated, and hard to overlook. Next up, Elizabeth Taylor collected husbands like Hollywood collected scandals. But she was much more than just tabloid fodder. 4. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was more than a movie star. She was a big name in Hollywood. With her striking violet eyes and strong personality, she drew in crowds and experienced a life more dramatic than any movie. Her romantic life was exciting enough to keep gossip magazines busy for many years. She was married 8 times and loved deeply and quickly, with no regrets. Her biggest incident happened when she took her best friend Debbie Reynolds' husband, Eddie Fisher. The betrayal made news, and people started seeing her as someone who broke up homes. But Taylor didn't mind. She fell in love with Richard Burton, and their intense and unpredictable relationship became famous. They got married 2 times, separated 2 times, and always held on to each other. Despite the scandals, she was a great performer, winning 2 Oscars and giving memorable performances in Cleopatra and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. She struggled with addiction, overcame serious diseases, and later became an advocate for AIDS awareness. Whether you loved her or hated her, Elizabeth Taylor was unforgettable. Next up, Vivien Leigh was mesmerizing on screen, but her personal life was a battle she couldn't always win. 3. Vivien Leigh. Vivien Leigh was amazing. Her looks, ability, and passion made her unforgettable. Behind the impressive acts was a woman struggling with her thoughts. She had bipolar disorder, a condition that people didn't understand well back then, and it caused her life to be a steady struggle between great ideas and disorder. Her most famous part as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind made her a legend, but the pressure was almost too much for her. She was very focused on her work and expected greatness from herself and others. Her domestic life was just as dramatic off-screen. Her marriage to Laurence Olivier, one of Hollywood's famous love stories, fell apart because of her illness. She often had extreme mood changes, acted unpredictably, and experienced breaks that made her friends and family feel powerless. Even though she faced challenges, her efforts were memorable. She won 2 Oscars, showing that she was talented, not just good-looking. Her mental health got worse, and by the time she died at 53, she was no longer in the center of Hollywood. Next up, Jayne Mansfield knew how to shock, but her untimely death became one of Hollywood's greatest tragedies. 2. Jayne Mansfield. Jayne Mansfield was hard to overlook. She had platinum blonde hair, noticeable curves, and attention-grabbing marketing stunts, making sure all cameras focused on her. She wasn't just copying Marilyn Monroe, she was unique and daring, leaving viewers amazed and shocked. She gained attention for her daring fashion, bold public performances, and speculated connections to the Church of Satan. It didn't matter if she really had any link to Anton LaVey, the church leader. The rumors about it were enough to make her seem more mysterious. She embraced conflict, believing that any attention was good attention. However, her adventurous life ended sadly. She died in a terrible car accident in 1967 when she was only 34 years old. The accident was so terrible that people started to say she had been beheaded, but that was later shown to be untrue. Her sudden death made her one of Hollywood's biggest tragedies, a star who shone brightly but quickly. The last on our list is Hedy Lamarr. She wasn't just a Hollywood beauty, she was a genius who changed the world. 1. Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr was more than just a beautiful face. She was a mind ahead of her time. Before she became a Hollywood star, she left an abusive marriage to a wealthy arms dealer from Austria. She escaped to America with just her looks and determination. When Hollywood discovered her, she was soon chosen for roles as the perfect foreign beauty. People were shocked not only by her looks. In Ecstasy, she was in the first popular nude scene, which shocked viewers but made her an instant hero. She was just as daring in her personal life as she was in her performances. She lived a flashy and dramatic life with many relationships, unsuccessful marriages, and a surprising personality. However, her greatest influence was not in movies but in science. While the world saw her as just another bombshell, she was quietly creating technology that would later become the foundation for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. She didn't get the recognition she earned while she was alive, but now people see her as a Hollywood icon and a leader in science. Hollywood tried to control these women, but they refused to be tamed. Their drama, struggles, and triumphs made them unforgettable. Like, share, and subscribe for more. And don't forget to click on the next video popping up now.